Oh, good evening, everybody. So I did the Robertshaw judgment earlier, but what I'm doing is I've posted it with the link, the Bailey link underneath, and I managed to get all my judgments made public actually. So this podcast, I'm going to do a bit of a recap and talk about both the published judgments at the same time, just in case you haven't seen the podcast before, so that people that are watching this know what I'm talking about. I'll just put that up a bit. And so, sorry guys, technical problem. My cameraman's not here today. He's not here. I didn't turn in. Okay, so I'm going to do the opening. So this is for people that haven't seen the Robertshaw judgment. So this podcast is called Jones, Robertshaw, and the System That Took You From Me. So I am recording this podcast to speak about two published family court judgments. The first is commonly known as the Robertshaw judgment. The second is the Jones judgment. Both are publicly available and are linked in the description. I am not revealing secrets. I am not speculating. I am reading the system back to itself and explaining what it did to a mother and a child. I was not a bad mother. I was the opposite of a bad mother. And yet I was completely conned out of my daughter's life. Sorry, I just need to plug this iPad in. Sorry guys, because I don't want it to go off while I'm reading it. I look, my cameraman and my technical person. No, nobody turned up. I'm just here by myself. So I was conned out of my daughter's life. Part one, what the system did. I did what mothers are told to do. I reported abuse. My daughter reported abuse. I believed that alerting authorities would lead to protection. What followed was not protection. It was redirection. The focus moved away from the abuse and slowly moved onto me. Part two, Robertshaw, where removal is authorised. The court made clear it did not need to wait for actual harm. Risk and prediction were treated as sufficient. This allowed removal without failure, without harm, without wrongdoing. Once removal happened, the mother ceased to be the default parent. The child became a placement. Part 3. The machine switches on. Once a child is removed, a funded system activates. Lawyers, reports, assessments, placements, contact centres, hearings. This system exists only while separation continues. Returning a child collapses the structure. That reality shapes decisions. Part 4, Jones, where return becomes unrealistic. The court no longer asked whether removal was justified. It assumed separation and focused on managing it. Stability was prioritised over repair. Time itself became evidence. The longer the separation, the harder return became. Why return was never possible? Return would have required admission of error. Courts rarely do this, not because mothers are unworthy, but because systems protect themselves. I did not lose my daughter because I failed. I lost her because the system left no path home. Part 6. 200 years ago. 200 years ago, this would not have happened. This professionalised system of prediction, removal and permanence did not exist. Maternal bonds were not overridden by administrative reasoning. Part 7. The pain is built in. The pain of separation is not incidental. It is structural. A system that depends on separation normalizes harm. So I've written an address to my daughter because I'm hoping, I think all my viewers know by now that my daughter was taken from me when she was 6 for no abuse. I didn't abuse her. It was potential in the future. And there's been an attachment damage through fear. So this is for my daughter, and maybe she might come across my channel one day. My darling, when you were taken from me, it wasn't gentle, it wasn't gradual, it wasn't kind. You were ripped away from the person your body knew as safety. That kind of separation injures attachment at its deepest level. Fear can grow where love once lived. Not because the mother is dangerous, but because the separation was. If you feel afraid, guarded, or unable to trust me, that is not because I harmed you. It is because trauma taught your mind to protect itself. Nothing in your fear means that I was a bad mother. Nothing in your fear means you were wrong to love me. If you had been born 200 years ago, we would never have been separated like this. I never stopped being your mother. I am still here. And I have never stopped loving you. A mother can be loving, capable, and protective and still lose her child. Not because she failed, but because once this system starts moving, it is designed to keep moving. Read the judgments and ask what kind of society calls this protection. In closing, I want to say that we now know from grooming gang inquiries how often children and mothers were ignored when abuse was reported. What my case shows is that in the family court system, that same failure can happen quietly and without ever being publicly acknowledged. So that's why I'm doing my channel, because I would say it's the only one of its kind, because I'm one of the few mothers that aren't gagged. I'm one of the few mothers that managed to get these judgments out into the public domain, albeit over 10 years ago. But you know, sometimes it takes time to get things into the public domain, and for the timing needs to be right for people to actually understand what's happening, because nobody understood 10 years ago about the grooming gangs, but now the light is definitely shining brightly on the system. So yeah, I'll just keep doing my little podcasts and trying to grow authentically my subscribers, and eventually let's hope together that we can make a difference. Thank you for listening, and can you please subscribe, can you share and like, because it does the things with the algorithms on YouTube. I know all about this now. Yeah, and I'm going to sack my cameraman. Thank you for listening.